Hi! So, I'm finally getting around to doing this Central Asia Q&A. I'm in England and it's so cold. I'm literally sitting here with a hot water bottle and a mug of tea in my London Underground mug. And I'm just reminiscing of the time when I just melted in Uzbekistan. Those were the days. Wish me luck. It's 42 degrees. It's meant to get up to 46. So, I thought I would finally get round to answering some questions that I was asked while I was in Central Asia. I did a few Instagram story question things and I did save the questions. It's a long time ago now, it was like 4 months ago now, but I did save the questions and I am going to answer them now. So let's go. So, if you don't know, Central Asia is a region of the world which is in Central Asia. The name kind of suggests. It is between China is to the east and to the west is Europe, really, Eastern Europe. To the north is Russia and to the south is the Middle East. So it's like there. I'll put a map in if I can find one. It's normally, when people say Central Asia, they normally mean Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan. Sometimes Afghanistan is also included, but normally when travellers talk about it, they mean the 5 countries that I just mentioned above. I have actually only been to 2 of these countries. I've only been to Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. So this, whatever I say, I'm only basing it off my experiences in Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. From what I've heard, Kyrgyzstan is very similar, and Tajikistan is pretty similar as well, I think. Turkmenistan is a bit different because it's very closed. It's very difficult to get a visa there, and there's very, very, very few tourists there. I mean, there's not many tourists in the whole region, but especially Turkmenistan. So Turkmenistan is a little bit different. Either way, please do some more research before you go to Central Asia. Don't just go off this video because I'm only going off my experiences, but hopefully I can help out a bit if you're planning to go to these countries, and you really should. They're amazing and I can't wait to go back. By far the biggest question I was asked, or like the most asked question, was, is it safe? In a word, yes. I mean, there are a lot of ways in which this area of the world is much safer than Europe, much safer than, London, where I'm from, much, much safer than, the US, like most places in the US. As a woman travelling on my own, I was obviously sometimes met with quite a lot of curiosity, not in the cities. So the cities in Kazakhstan are very modern and pretty liberal. Astana, which is now called Nur Sultan, there's been a whole thing there which I won't go into, but Astana / Nur Sultan is super modern. Like, all of the architecture there is so modern, it's crazy. And Almaty, which is Kazakhstan's old capital, which is where most backpackers, travellers go, that feels quite European, really, and that's a very nice city, very livable city. So in the cities, it's very normal for a woman to be travelling on her own. I made a lot of Kazakh friends who travelled on their own or lived on their own, so it's not really a thing there. When I took trains, that's when I met a few people who had, who were very interested in what I was doing, and they would, just ask me a lot of questions. 9.9 times out of 10, 99% of the time, I guess would be better to say, it was curiosity. And depending on who it was who asked me, sometimes if someone asked me where my husband was, or if I was married, if it was a woman, or if it was someone who just didn't give me weird vibes, if I could tell they were just asking because they were curious, then I tell them the truth. I tell them that I'm not married and we don't get married until a lot later in England. If it was, this happened only a couple of times, but if it was someone who kind of gave me, kind of creepy vibes, and I could tell they were kind of asking me because they were like, oh, a woman on your own, what are you doing, if you know what I mean, then I would say, yes, I've got a husband, I'm meeting him at the next place. Bit shit that women have to do that still, but, it's also important to stay safe. Even saying that, I don't think either of those times that happened, I don't think I'm any of those men would have actually done anything bad. I don't get that vibe at all, really, from men there. Obviously, as a solo traveller, you just have to be extra careful and look out for yourself. The only other thing I would say was safety. It's not really safety, but it's kind of like scams. On the border, there are still some scams operating. One of these kind of happened to me, but I got out of it. When I left Kazakhstan, I was told, the border guard told me I'd been in Kazakhstan without a visa and I needed a visa to be in Kazakhstan, which isn't true. I'm British. British people don't need a visa for stays of up to 30 days in Kazakhstan. And this was kind of in Russian as well, so it was going backwards and forwards, and eventually I managed to say that, I can't even remember how to say it now, my Russian's gone out of my head, but I managed to say less than 30 days, no, niet. And eventually he let me through. I've heard that if you show any sign of like doubt, then they'll be like, oh, it's okay, you can just give us this money and we'll let you go through, we won't charge you, or something like that. So yeah, that's one thing to look out for, definitely. But other than that, it felt very safe, honestly. Like, it felt a lot safer than a lot of places I've been. Like, yeah, a lot safer than a lot of big cities in Europe, a lot safer than a lot of places in Southeast Asia. So yeah, it's very safe, really. How to get around was the next one. How do you get around? By train. I got around the whole place by train, really. The trains, they vary. Some of them are the old Soviet trains, which are quite cool and super interesting. Also very, very, very slow. But that's all part of the experience. But there are also some like more modern trains in Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, actually. And they are a lot faster. Sometimes you get like a little snack and stuff. A cup of tea, and yeah, like some of the trains are really cool. So they vary hugely. I also got a shared taxi once, which is another way to get around. You can get around by marshutka, and actually it ended up being a private taxi because we couldn't find anyone to share the taxi with. But yeah, that was fine as well. The driver was driving very, very, very fast, but we were in the desert, so you could kind of see quite far into the distance. It would have been scary if it was in the mountains, but it's best to, like, when you're in a place, to just ask people at your hostel or hotel, like, how to get to the next place, because some places are better to go by train, some places are better to go by marshutka. But sometimes it is important to book the trains in advance, so check that as well, depending on where you're going. What is there to do in Central Asia? Oh, there's so much to do in Central Asia. It's just part of the world that, like, I guess it was closed off for so long. During the Soviet Union times and after the Soviet Union times. So yeah, I guess, people just don't know so much about it. But honestly, there's so much to do. Like, I'm already planning my next trip back. So Uzbekistan is all the Silk Road cities. There's beautiful madrasas, mosques. There's so much history. It's all like ancient history. Kazakhstan, Almaty is a very, very, very livable city. Like, it's lovely for like a city break, just like things to do and stuff. But it's got mountains nearby. There are loads of day trips you can do from Almaty. I only did like one weekend trip, 1 half-day trip. So yeah, there's loads that you can do there. There's ski slopes nearby as well. Astana has all this like super modern architecture. It has one of the best national museums. I like to go in every national museum where I can. And it has one of the best national museums, probably the best national museum I've ever been to. So go to the National Museum. Aktau is a weird place. That's the other place I went to in Kazakhstan. Aktau is on the Caspian Sea. It's where I got a boat to Azerbaijan. That's weird. That's like a beach resort meets Soviet culture. It's interesting. If you're into that kind of thing, you'll find it interesting, but it's a weird place. I wouldn't go to Aktau just to go to Aktau, but if you get in the boat, you got to go to Aktau. So, yeah. And then like places I haven't been, like Kyrgyzstan it looks like Patagonia or New Zealand for like hiking and mountains and stuff. It looks amazing. And Tajikistan as well has the Pamir Highway, which is meant to be incredible. So there's lots to do and lots I want to go back to do. So yeah, a lot of nature, Silk Road history, culture, post-Soviet culture, which I find really interesting. I know a lot of people do. Amazing people, really friendly people. You can learn Russian, which I actually quite enjoy. It's really good. I really recommend it. Go to Central Asia. Oh, next one, Russian. Do you need to speak Russian? You don't need to. You don't need to do anything apart from have a passport. But it will help a lot. Yeah, like, I'm glad I learned a bit of Russian before I went, and I mean, my Russian still isn't great. My most used phrase was "ne poнимаю," which means I don't understand. Or "мой русский нет очень хорошо," which means my Russian is not very good. But yeah, I think it's definitely good to know like a fair bit, or like a bit, just something before going. It definitely helps. But I also met people who didn't know any, and they managed to travel. So, but you just won't be able to talk to people if you don't know Russian, because obviously like as part of the Soviet Union, all those countries were part of the Soviet Union, so Russian was just like implemented across the whole area. And then when the Soviet Union collapsed, they only became independent countries there. So there are a lot of people, like there are a lot of Uzbeks living in Kazakhstan, Kazakhs living in Uzbekistan, Kyrgyz people living in Tajikistan. Like it's a real mix, so everyone uses Russian to communicate. So like Kazakhstan, there's more people that speak Russian than Kazakh. So it's definitely good to learn some Russian there. And obviously, because they haven't had so many tourists, not so many people speak English, but some people do, some younger people do, and some younger people want to meet up with tourists to practice their English as well. So yeah, what was the food like? Oh, meaty, in a word. I don't eat meat. I am as vegan as I can be, but sometimes it's difficult. Yeah, a lot of meat. A lot of dumplings. They have noodles, like thick udon noodles, which normally serve with like a meat, don't know what kind of meat, and some veg. I managed to get them with just veg sometimes. Plov is good. Plov is like a fried rice dish. Again, normally served with lamb, I think, and like dried fruit and stuff. So sometimes I had it with just the dried fruit. And samosas, they're good. They're like samosas. They're like Central Asian samosas. And those are the kind of meals that pop into my head. When I was in Almaty, I cooked for myself quite a lot. I'll link my supermarket video. I went to the supermarket quite a lot, and I actually made a video of it because I thought it was interesting. So yeah, Almaty was okay for that kind of thing. Yeah, it was fine being vegetarian, or like flexible vegetarian, I guess, because sometimes I would have things that were definitely cooked in stock or fat or something, but you gotta be a bit, I don't know, like I would rather travel to these places and be a bit flexible than not travel to them. But vegan, I don't know, I mean, I'm pretty sure I had things with milk and eggs in at times. I didn't have any milk or eggs like on their own, but I wasn't too scrutinous about the ingredients of things. But general food, if you like meat, you'll like it there. Yeah, like it's quite hearty food. A lot of people do like it. So yeah, it's different. It's definitely different. Where to stay? Where are the best places to stay? I stayed in a range of places, really. I stayed in the Best Western in Astana. That was very nice though. And then hostels in like Almaty, Tashkent, Samarkand, and then when I got like to the smaller places on the Silk Road route, I stayed in more guest houses, which are nice. That's quite like a traditionally Uzbek thing to do. So yeah, there's all sorts really. I never tried Airbnb. I don't know what Airbnb would be like there, but yeah, like all the Silk Road cities and Almaty, and I guess Astana as well, like you'll find hostels and they're very cheap, like like £3, £4, £5 for a night. And then hotels, guest houses, can be anything between £8 to £40, depending on what you want to do. I also stayed in the Hotel Kazakhstan. That was fun. I'd recommend staying in the Hotel Kazakhstan in Almaty. It's quite a unique experience. So yeah, nice little mix. And the last question was, is it easy to meet people because it's not a very touristy area yet? So if you stay in hostels, you will meet people. I met people from all over the world, including, like obviously when I was in Almaty, I stayed in a hostel, and there were a few people there who were from Kazakhstan but just like visiting Almaty, and they spoke good English. There were also a few people there was one guy from Moldova, there was one girl from Ukraine, so it was a good mix of people. And yeah, so it's quite easy to meet people in that regard, you know, like even though it's not a hugely popular destination for Western tourists, it's a very popular, you know, with traveling within the post-USSR countries, it's very popular for people from the post-USSR countries. So there are plenty of opportunities to meet like locals and stuff, which is really good. Another thing I did is I met a lot of people on couch surfing. So I made a few friends there. Some of them I'm still in touch with today, which is awesome. So I definitely would recommend using couch surfing. Like I said before, a lot of locals do want to practice English. I also went on a group tour in Almaty, which was really good. And most people could speak English on the group tour, were very welcoming, and that was really cool. So there's that as well. How else did I make friends? Just the hostels, I guess. Yeah, definitely if you stay in hostels you'll meet people. I met some overlanders as well, so that was cool. And yeah, I think that's about it. Those are the main questions, at least. There are a few repeated ones, but so I hope that's helped if anyone's planning a trip to Central Asia. I really recommend it if you can't tell. And I will be back I'll come back with a Q&A about my entire trip. I have got a load of questions to answer for that as well. Hopefully I'll get a chance to record that while I'm still in England. I'm off to the sunny Philippines in a few days though, which is going to be awesome. But I will try and upload while I'm away, because I still have a load of vlogs to get through and everything, and I want to be able to help people plan their Central Asia trips. So thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed it and want to see more of my vlogs, because there are definitely more to come, please give the channel a subscribe, and that would be much appreciated. And I hope I'll see you next time. Thank you, bye.